Hello, welcome. What you're about to see is not for the faint-hearted. What you're about to see is what I like to call the scary doors. Good luck. Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Underdog Eats and Confused and I watched the 16th episode of the Twilight Zone. Yeah. I didn't drop a movie or the Twilight Zone yesterday because I was mentally tired. The day before I was at the festival, I've got a nice new t-shirt from Vermicular Incubation, stuff like that. A band from France. Very nice vocals, very nice. Have some tips from the singer when he was at the merch stage. So yeah, very nice. Also talked to very shortly to the singer of Foyer, and also got some tips from the singer of Blue Waffle Sauerkraut, which I'm also friends with on Facebook. So very nice, nice dude. But let's just start with the Twilight Zone, shall we? We're somewhere outside in the dark, and we see a car, comes driving up, pulling up, more like, a guy steps out and walks towards us. We're at the other side of a gate or a fence, and he tries to open, the lock, but he screams back to the driver, "It won't work. The lock is rusted." The driver shouts back, "He got in, didn't he?" I don't know who he is, but he got in, didn't he? And then the lock opened. What the fuck is this? The lock opened and they proceed to driving. And we're gonna leave it at that because if you don't know what's gonna happen next, watch the episode yourself. But the first story was rather okay, it wasn't really a good story. It was a rather okay story. The second story was more interesting. It was there was a guy with basically a mark that he got as punishment, and that mark he had to wear for a year, and in that year he just gets ignored by everybody. They just ignore them. Food. If you get food, if you just talk to somebody, and there was even a blind guy. He sat at this table. He asked if he could sit down, and the guy said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." Oh, so kind and all. And the blind guy could smell, the other guy's food, and he said, "Oh, is that soup?" And the guy said, "Oh, yes, it is." Then the blind guy asked "Oh, could I have a bit, please?" Or only if you insist, or something like that, or oh wait, he asked, "Do you want some?" And the blind guy said, "No, only if you insist." That's it. So he gave, his soup to the blind guy, and then a nurse walked up to him and said, "He's invisible," or something like that. And the guy immediately went for, "Ugh, something like, "You're disgusting," or "You son of a bitch," or whatever, and he got up and he walked away. Dude, what the fuck, dude? But it was a good story. The second one was a good story. The third story was okay, but it was about a tooth, about a dentist that was more scared of his patients, basically, and he wanted to hang himself, and then the tooth fairy showed up, which was a guy that didn't really look like Tooth Fairy. It looked more like he belongs in the mafia. But and he, this guy wasn't the only. That was not the first dentist that the Tooth Fairy ruined. Like, fuck! There's not the first dentist that the Tooth Fairy has ruined the life of. But I'm also gonna leave it at that because the first story was also pretty okay, more alright, but pretty okay. So overall, I will give this episode a 3 out of 5. The episode was pretty okay. The second story was the best story of this episode, but the other two were more of the okay side. That said, I'm gonna leave it at that. Leave likes, recommend a good spooky show down below in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, go to the Discord, and I'll see you guys next time.